He's not dumb. He knows what he's doing. And I'm talking about Jay-Z, Rocnation. If you notice, they're only targeting Al Haymon fighters. Deontay Wilder, Peter Quillen, Danny Garcia, and now Keith Thurman. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. It is intentional. It has to be intentional. Keith Thurman turned down $6 million. $6 million deal with Rocnation. If I'm correct, it would have been It would have been 2 million, then 2 fights for 1.5, then another fight for like $1 million, something like that. So if you look at the fact that he fought Julio Diaz, he's fighting Leonard Bundu, Jesus Soto Carras, Diego Chavez. He didn't make no $1 million before. He probably, making, because of Al Haymon, maybe $500,000 a fight. Peter Quillen never made $1.4 million before. They were offering, I forgot how much Deontay Wilder was getting, but they were going to make him a millionaire too. One thing I noticed about Keith Thurman in his interviews, you can tell he's somewhat disgruntled. You can tell there's some frustration there with him and Al Haymon, because you can sense, for example, in an interview, it was posted on ESPN. I'm gonna post the article below. He said, basically, like, I can lose to Leonard Bundu. What if I lose to Leonard Bundu? Now, it was also mentioned that he didn't consult Al Haymon about it. I doubt it. Maybe I'm like, seriously. And even if Al Haymon didn't know about it, Keith Thurman already knew he couldn't sign. Keith Thurman not dumb. He saw that, well, Deontay Wilder couldn't, Danny Garcia couldn't, Peter Quillen couldn't, so I know I ain't gonna be like, fuck it, turn it down. So I guess the point of the video is, one of these fighters, what if one of these fighters lose? What if Deontay Wilder loses? He passed up that guaranteed money. What if Peter Quillen loses? Not only did he pass up guaranteed money, but his belt. What if Keith Thurman loses? Because he passed up that guaranteed $6 million, So I'm thinking now, in my opinion, Al Haymon may be a billionaire, if not close to it. People be pointing out that bullshit Forbes listing saying it says he's only worth 15 million. If you're still relying on like what these websites like that are telling you, they haven't been updated in years, then it's no point in even addressing it. And I don't even know why I waste my time doing it. So is Al Haymon going to give these fighters the money out of his own pocket? Is he saying, okay, the next fight I'm going to make sure I get you some big money? Because it has to be a big fight. So if you look at a guy like Peter Quillen, he turned down close to $1.5 million to fight Matvey Korobov. Matvey Korobov also lost out on a lot of bread. Demetrius Andrade was willing to drop his belt, move up, because he thought he was going to get the same deal. So Peter Quillen, who can he fight after fighting guys like Lucas Konieczny, Hassan N'Dam, and I don't even know. I forgot. Oh, Winky, right? Who can he fight where he can make $1.4 million? Or that Showtime, the network, or a network in general, are going to bid for a fight? Like, that's where the money comes from. The network's got to say, oh, I want this fight. But I'm only going to put $3 million down. That's for promotion, all that shit. So, you got to split, how is that money going to come about? Once again, I use the example of Robert Guerrero got $1 million to fight Yoshihiro Kamagai. Aries Lendy-Lar got $1 million to fight Saul Canelo Alvarez on pay-per-view. Marcos Maidana got $1.5 million plus some pay-per-view and a little bit more from what I'm hearing rumored to him, but officially 1.5 to fight Mayweather in the first fight. So I asked myself, okay, I see somewhat what Al Haymon is doing. He is getting these fighters these big paydays outside of, you'll see a guy like George Blades get paid something like $45,000. And then you'll see somebody like Chad Dawson get paid like $15,000. Crazy stuff like that. Those are not accurate numbers, but I'm saying you got to go look up George Groves versus Chad Dawson their purses. It was strange, you know. And then we know Chad Dawson was fat, so, and then it looked like George Blaze took a dive, you know. But I guess I'm saying this: Keith Thurman, I feel that he's not too happy in the situation he's in. He could be fighting Devin Alexander, Kell Brook, Robert Guerrero. Well, Robert Guerrero clearly turned him down and said basically no way. Marcos Maidana, but Marcos Maidana was like, yeah, I just fought Floyd Mayweather. You know, like, how y'all gonna bring me back down? How you gonna bring me down to Keith Thurman? And that's no disrespect to Keith Thurman, but Keith Thurman is just a contender right now. He was a prospect not too long ago. So, but when it comes to the big name guys, the big fights that can be made, even though whether it's the weight or not, they can be made. Here is Landy Lara. Remember, Thurman is a small. He's a big 147 pounder and a small 154 pounder. Here's Landy Lara, Amir Khan, Devin Alexander. Of course, we know that's happening. But as far as fans would have loved to see Devin Alexander, Keith Thurman over Amir Khan, Devin Alexander, and that's debatable. But the reason why I'm saying this is because you know it means a whole lot more. So, and I'm not saying that Amir Khan doesn't and Devin Alexander doesn't mean much, but you got a fighter in Devin Alexander that can get knocked out. Imagine Amir Khan versus Keith Thurman. You know, and remember, he's a WBO interim champion, so basically he's the #1 contender for that WBA shot, and he should technically be mandatory by now because Floyd Mayweather beat Maidana. Floyd Mayweather defended voluntarily against Maidana, and now, you know, is he going to get another voluntary defense or is he going to drop the belt? But that's why when all these guys are Haymon fighters, you know, like deals just get worked out, you know, and God just is told, like, nah, don't pursue that belt right now. I got you. Like, you got Jermaine Taylor getting set up nicely with a 160-pound title after all these years by beating Sam Solomon. Thank you, Al Haymon. Thank you so much. But what does this mean for the sport of boxing? This obviously means that this is once again a situation where Al Haymon has to have some big grand scheme planned. Because he's got these fighters turning down money, dropping belts, holding out on fights, fighters clearly being ducked, fighters fighting fighters that they're not supposed to be fighting or shouldn't be fighting. He's got to have a plan, right? Just got to be some big plan. I'm actually tired. I gotta go get rid of these candles. TstreeT Controversy Live.